All right, let's dive into something called acceptance and commitment therapy, or ACT for short. Now, this is a really powerful way of looking at things. It's all about building a rich, full, and meaningful life, not by getting rid of all your difficult feelings, but by fundamentally changing how you relate to them. So to kick things off, let's start with a question that really gets to the heart of the matter.
So let me ask you something. Do you ever feel like you're in a constant war with your own mind? Trying to push away anxiety, or argue with that voice of self-doubt, or just trying to force yourself to be happy? If that sounds familiar, you are definitely not alone. And that constant, exhausting internal struggle, that is exactly what ACT is designed to address. Psychologists actually have a name for this fight. It's called experiential avoidance. It's that completely natural human instinct to run from or suppress or just get rid of uncomfortable thoughts and feelings. But here's the trap, and it's a big one. The more we struggle to avoid them, the bigger and louder they tend to get. It's kind of like trying to hold a beach ball underwater. You can do it for a little while, but it takes a ton of energy, and eventually it just pops right back up with even more force.
So fighting doesn't work. What's the alternative? Well, this is where acceptance and commitment therapy offers a really different path. Instead of focusing all our energy on getting rid of bad feelings, ACT completely shifts the goal. The point isn't to feel good all the time, it's to live well. It's about building a life that matters to you with your difficult feelings along for the ride, not in spite of them.
Okay, this is a really helpful way to see what makes ACT so different, especially when you compare it to something like traditional cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT. You see, CBT often aims to challenge and change your negative thoughts, but ACT, it takes a different tack. The goal isn't to change the thought itself, but to change your relationship with it, to see it for what it is, just a thought, and not let it be the boss of you. The focus shifts from just trying to reduce symptoms to actively building a life that feels vital and important.
The whole point of ACT, really, is to build this one crucial skill: psychological flexibility. Honestly, you can think of it like emotional fitness. It's the ability to stay present, to open up to your experiences, and to do what matters, even when your mind is screaming at you, making a ton of noise. This flexibility, this skill, it's the foundation of a truly resilient and meaningful life.
So how do we actually build this psychological flexibility? Well, ACT gives us a really practical toolkit. It's made up of 6 core skills that all work together. Let's walk through them one by one.
First up, we've got acceptance. And this is important. This is not about giving up or liking your pain. It's an active choice to just drop the rope in that endless tug of war with your emotions. It's about making room for discomfort, just allowing it to be there without that constant struggle. So imagine that knot of anxiety in your chest. Instead of trying to push it away, what if you just let it sit there? You don't have to like it, just allow it. That's acceptance.
Next, we have cognitive defusion. This is all about learning to step back from our thoughts and get some distance. So your mind might say, I'm a failure. And when you're fused with that thought, it feels like an absolute fact. Defusion is that little shift where you start to notice, I'm having the thought that I'm a failure. See the difference? Suddenly, you're not the thought. You're the one watching it float by. And the techniques for this can be pretty fun, like singing that mean thought to the tune of Happy Birthday. It's kind of hard to take it seriously after that.
Okay, our third skill is being present. So much of our suffering comes from getting lost in our heads, right? Replaying the past or worrying about the future. This is all about pulling yourself out of that mental time travel and just anchoring yourself right here, right now. It can be as simple as noticing the feeling of your feet on the floor or the sounds around you, or really, truly tasting your coffee instead of just mindlessly drinking it.
All right, this next one, self as context. It can feel a little abstract at first, but stick with me because it is so powerful. It's about connecting with the part of you that's the silent observer of your life. The metaphor here is just perfect. You are not your thoughts or feelings. You are the sky, vast, constant, always there. And all those inner experiences, your thoughts, your emotions, your memories, they're just the weather. Storms come and go, clouds pass, but the sky always remains.
Now we get to the 5th skill, values. And this is really the heart of ACT. Values are your personal answer to the question, what do I want my life to stand for? They aren't goals that you can check off a list, like get that promotion. No, they are ongoing directions, like being a supportive colleague or being a creative person. They are your inner compass, guiding your every move. And finally, we have committed action. This is where the rubber meets the road. If your values are the why, then committed action is the what. This is about taking real, tangible steps in the direction that your values are pointing you. And this is where you pull out all those other tools, right? You use acceptance and diffusion to handle the fear, the discomfort, or the self-doubt that's definitely going to show up along the way.
So these 6 skills aren't separate things. They all work together beautifully to help you build a life that's guided by your own inner compass. So let's see how this all comes together in a real-world scenario.
Just take a second and really think about this question. Seriously, if fear or anxiety or that nagging self-doubt, if none of it was an obstacle, what would you pour your energy into? Who would you be? What would you start doing with your life?
You know, the answers that pop into your head right now, they're not just daydreams. In the world of ACT, those answers point directly to your core values. They are powerful clues to what truly gives your life a sense of meaning and purpose.
Let's make this super concrete with this example of Sarah. She gets intense anxiety about public speaking. So first, she clarifies her value. Professional growth is important to her. Then, she makes a committed action. She's going to take on a presentation at work. Now, when the anxiety shows up, and oh, it will, she uses acceptance to make space for that fear instead of fighting it. And when her mind starts screaming, "You're going to fail," she uses diffusion to see it as just a thought, not a fact. This is ACT in action, right there.
Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, right? But what does the science say? I mean, does this stuff actually work?
Well, the evidence is pretty overwhelming. As this quote shows, a massive review of studies found that ACT is effective for a huge range of issues. We're talking everything from anxiety and depression to chronic pain and addiction. It consistently works better than doing nothing or even just standard care.
And just so you know, we're not talking about a couple of small studies here. To give you an idea of the scale we're talking about, that review looked at 133 different high-quality studies with over 12,000 people participating. So yeah, this is a very solid, evidence-backed approach.
So we'll end with this. This is the question that ACT is really asking you to think about. All of that energy you spend fighting with your own mind, what if you could redirect it? What meaningful, vital, important things would you start doing out there in your life? Because ultimately, the goal isn't to win the war inside your head. It's to learn how to stop fighting it, so you can finally get out of your mind and into your life.